なんで俺が死刑なんだって思ってるよ。
お前のせいだ。
生き様で後悔はしたくない。
だが自分が助けた人間が将来人を殺したらどうする。
お前は大勢に囲まれて死ぬ。
君の既得死刑が決定した。
てめえの死に様はもう決まってんだ。
母さんも僕も人の心に呪われたっていうのか。
正しい死って何？命の価値が曖昧になって大切な人の価値まで分からなくなるのが俺は怖い。
Welcome to the Shibuya rewrite. Unlike the last one, where I only made minor changes, the changes are going to be more drastic this time around. But I'm still trying my best to stick to the original plot and not veer off into full fanfic mode. As I said in the last video, I'm not doing this because I think I can do better than the author. I'm doing this because I love this show and I just want to see it reach its full potential. Because again, Jujutsu Kaisen is a show that's almost there, almost peak. And that's especially so with the Shibuya arc. So, let's get started. This might unironically be my favorite part of the show. This, in my opinion, is JJK at its absolute best. A fight scene of epic proportions with powers that are easy to understand, no deus ex machinas or any BS moves, and to top it all off, a powerful character moment. Let me tell you something, if the entire show was written to this standard, I probably wouldn't even be making this video. I'll be perfectly satisfied. But, since we're making bigger changes this time, we'll need to have this scene do more work for us to set up those changes, as well as other parts of the Shibuya arc that kinda came out of nowhere. The biggest thing of which is Kenjaku and the culling games. It's been weeks since Mekamaru sent a drone after Mahito when he caught him snooping as usual during the school exchange event, and Mekamaru is just about to dismiss this trail as a dead end when the drone finally pings. It pings the location of an abandoned warehouse hidden down some narrow alleyway in the dark corners of the city, but when the drone scans the area it finds nothing at all. The warehouse is completely empty, except a little sea slug sat on the ground hiding in the darkness. There's also barely any cursed energy coming from it. The drone approaches carefully. Mekamaru can afford to lose this drone if it's destroyed, so he feels no need to retreat. The drone pokes it, but the slug doesn't budge, almost as if it's not even living. Maybe it's not a cursed spirit, but just a cursed object? Then, the drone finds an opening on one of its sides. A mouth, maybe? Without warning, the drone gets swallowed in and finds itself falling right onto the shores of a beach. In the Shibuya arc, Dagon kinda came out of nowhere, but actually we've already seen Dagon without realizing it. All the scenes with the villains relaxing on Bikini Bottom actually took place in Dagon's domain expansion all along. We simply didn't realize that because Dagon himself never showed up, which is weird, right? Why won't you be in your own domain? So I'm going to take that question mark and answer it by giving Dagon a very important role for the villains. Dagon is playing security. When he's a little sea slug, he can curl up and hibernate. He opens a domain expansion inside his stomach and hibernates. Everyone can go inside his domain by going in through his mouth, and while in hibernation, Dagon's cursed energy is suppressed. That's how the villains have been hiding from the Jujutsu sorcerers all this time. Realizing what has happened, Mekamaru quickly commands the drone to bury itself in the sand and record footage of everything it could. This is the most intel the Jujutsu Society has ever gotten on the villains, ever. Kenjaku, in a place of safety, isn't piloting Geito's body, but sunbathing in his true form as a little brain creature on the benches with Mahito, Jogo, and Hanami, and he's lecturing them on the grand plan again so they don't forget. First, he explains them the culling games, what it is, why he's doing it, and most importantly, what he needs in order to start it. You know, if you think about it, there's actually no good reason to explain why they needed to terrorize Shibuya Station like this at all. Sealing Gojo in a public area could have been done literally anywhere, and surely it's easier to do it while catching him off guard than alerting the entire Jujutsu Society to send all their forces at him, right? You can also ask the same question with basically every objective that the Shibuya incident accomplished. Summoning Sukuna by feeding Yuji 10 fingers? Also easier to do by ambushing him than by alerting everyone. Performing the ritual to start the culling games? Also easier to do by performing it somewhere hidden. Absorbing Mahito after he felt the truest essence of his soul? That doesn't even require the sorcerers to get involved. Just spar with Mahito, then push him to his limits on your own, if you're so strong. So, let's give a rock-solid reason as to why they needed the Shibuya incident. The culling games is made from a series of very complicated binding vows, and to pull off something like that, you will need an ungodly amount of cursed energy. A limitless amount of it, if you will. Kenjaku needs them to capture Gojo using the prison realm and sap his cursed energy while he's being held down to make the binding vows. There's only one problem though. They don't have it. No one does. The prison realm is buried deep, deep under Shibuya Station, even deeper than the underground subway goes. They need to dig it out before they could use it, and they obviously can't do that without alerting anyone. Unless they trap everyone who would have been alerted so word of it won't get out to the sorcerers. Second, they also need Sukuna's help for this. They want Sukuna to reincarnate in his actual body, and there's a way to achieve this using the culling games. But to do that, Sukuna needs to make the same binding vow that all the ancient sorcerers from the Heian era did. Before this, Sukuna was simply split into 20 fingers upon his defeat. But if he makes this vow, those 20 fingers turn into cursed objects capable of reincarnating him through the culling games like the Heian sorcerers. Lastly, Kenjaku needs Mahito to feel the truest essence of his soul so Mahito can perform at his maximum output, full body Uzumaki. That allows Mahito to use idle transfiguration at infinite range and manipulate all cursed objects so the Heian sorcerers can reincarnate. But in order to do this, Mahito can't simply just get stronger. No, to feel the truest essence of his soul, he needs to be fully and completely honest with himself. To truly see, accept, and admit his true nature, his deepest, most vulnerable desire. Mahito scoffs, saying he's already done this ages ago. He wants to kill people. That's the essence of his soul. But Kenjaku is unconvinced. Okay, let's be real. What does feeling the truest essence of your soul even mean? Like, we already barely know anything about what the soul means and how it fits in the magic system of JJK, so what the hell is this? Plus, whatever this is, it literally happened for no reason. Mahito just did it while fighting Yuji and Todo, allowing him to transform to his final form. This is just a classic JJK Deus Ex Machina Dragon Ball ripoff. So I'm gonna flesh this out instead and use it to build Mahito's character. Before Kenjaku could go on any further, Mahito spots the drone in the sand and digs it out. Mekamaru has been caught. They destroy the drone and track down his location, thus starting episode 7. Also, after realizing that his plan has been exposed, Kenjaku is pressured to move fast. If the sorcerers get their hands on the prison realm before them, then this whole plan is a bust. Thus, the only solution Kenjaku can see is the Shibuya incident. Mahito fights Mekamaru and defeats him, but not by destroying his giant robot. No, he simply traps Mekamaru in his domain expansion while he's still in the pilot seat and blows him up from a distance, avoiding the robot altogether. With him dead, the robot only has one final command to follow. It launches into the sky like a rocket and blasts off to find Miwa. I like the giant robot, okay? What do you want me to say? It's cool, I just want to see more of it. Also, Miwa deserved better in this arc, okay? I think keeping the robot around is killing two birds with one stone. And also, who doesn't love to see more of giant robots? They have an entire genre dedicated to mechas just for that. I mean, like, Pacific Rim? Who doesn't love Pacific Rim? When you're in the you fight the hurricane. Like, who doesn't love Pacific Rim? I wish they got a sequel. And like, Bayformers, giant robots, like car robots kicking the crap out of each other? Who doesn't love that? I am directly below the enemy scrotum. Shibuya Station is encased in a veil similar to the one used in the school exchange arc, with one minor difference. It works in the exact opposite way. Rather than a veil that specifically keeps Gojo out, Shibuya is trapped in a veil that keeps everything out except Gojo. Also, minor note, in this version all veils of any kind keep non-sorcerers out by default. The whole bit with Shibuya being trapped in 4 domains all layered over one another is just so needlessly convoluted, so let's simplify a little. Let's bring back the Gojo Veil from the school exchange arc and develop it some more. Gojo has no choice but to enter Shibuya alone. The fact that the Veil is even here means that they're already too late to retrieve the prison realm first, but not all hope is lost just yet. All the civilians are screaming and panicking. From their perspective, with cursed spirits being invisible to them, people are just exploding like blood fireworks left and right with no reason, and at any moment they could be next. But some of the smarter ones are starting to catch on a little. They at least know it's something going around killing people rather than just people dying randomly. This is bad for the sorcerers because it means that the secret of their work is one step closer to being exposed. This gives more world building and answers to one of the biggest questions people have had ever since day one of this show. How has the public not caught on yet? And also, what would actually happen if the secret behind Jujutsu sorcery got out? Gojo has no time to worry about that though. He orders the civilians to stick as close to the Veil as possible and clear space so that he can use his powers freely. He closes his eyes and focuses in on the cursed energy of the prison realm, tracking it like a metal detector. It leads him to the underground station where the villains are waiting for him. But not all of them though. Gojo immediately notices that Mahito isn't here, as well as the brain creature Kenjaku that Mekamaru told him about. Mekamaru doesn't say Kenjaku's possessing Geito's body because he doesn't know Geito. Why would he? Choso isn't there either, but Gojo doesn't know about Choso anyway. Gojo mocks Jogo and Hanami away and digs a hole towards the prison realm. Seeing no way to get close, Hanami chooses instead to fill the hole Gojo is digging and keep him on the surface. She also seals off all the exits in the station and pushes the walls in, packing the civilians closer and closer together. Deep underground, there's enough distance from the civilians to allow him to use red or blue. He charges it up, aims it at the ground beneath him, and... Shit. He rushes back up and sees the cursed spirits massacring the civilians. He opens up his 0.2-second domain expansion to kill them, and it leaves him completely exhausted. But at least the fight's over, and he can finally go dig up the prison realm now. And then the cursed energy signature from it starts to move. He groans. Did Mahito or Jogo just steal it while he was catching his breath? He follows it, whipping his head to and fro as it whizzes about. Finally, it settles in a new spot. It settles right behind him. He turns around to see... Geito?
Yeah. Satoru.
Gojo is trapped in place. Geito? How is he here? Choso, whom he still doesn't recognize, stands beside him, clearing out debris using blood manipulation. Gojo closes his eyes, accepting his fate. But the prison realm doesn't close up. He feels a tremor in the ground, not caused by anyone here, not from any cursed technique or sorcery, no. It's the tremor from thousands upon thousands of footsteps running. Screams quickly follow as someone shouts, "The invisible wall is closing!" The prison realm isn't closing up, but the barrier around Shibuya is, and it's squeezing the very civilians Gojo evacuated earlier to death. All their blood and guts gets pooled together like flesh sandwich, and it's all coming right for them. Gojo, even held still, can still do something. He expands his infinity as far as he can with what energy he has left and blocks the incoming wave of bodies just inches away from him. Their blood, their flesh, their bodies, all of it piles around his infinity like soap on a windshield. Mahito starts peeling them off one by one, collecting their souls to use for battle later. To him, this is a buffet. Kenjaku asks the villains to fan out, knowing the students can enter Shibuya now that the barrier has shrunk. And with that, Kenjaku starts sapping Gojo's cursed energy. The power to sap cursed energy comes from one of the many cursed spirits Geito has absorbed in his lifetime. If the barrier is still kept up, Yuji can't enter, and they can't revive Sukuna. Kenjaku also isn't stupid to simply take it down. So, the best compromise is to shrink it down to protect themselves and use it for a moment of beautiful body horror. Plus, Mahito has to get his souls from somewhere anyway. As the barrier shrank, the students waiting outside chased after the civilians, trying to do anything they can to save them, but no one can break past the barrier. In this situation, there's only one person that can help. Do you know who? Todo can't take down the barrier. but he can go in it by swapping places with the civilians, then go back out by swapping with a third person, hence saving one person, and he can do this over and over and over, allowing them to at least save some people. Choso singles Yuji out from the group and they fight one-on-one. Meanwhile, the students split up to deal with all the lower-grade cursed spirits first. The fight with Choso and Yuji is pure cinema, but the resolution of the fight and what it leads to could be a little better. Instead of Sukuna popping in to save Yuji like a Deus Ex Machina, it'd be better if Choso himself came to realize the connection. And after that, it'd be better if Choso actually did something about it instead of cowering away somewhere and giving us that stupid meme. Also, I love blood manipulation. I have never seen bloodbending used with such creativity before. This is one of JJK's biggest strengths from the very start, using classic superpowers in a way no one has ever really thought of before. Yuji loses to Choso, of course, and is bleeding out on the bathroom floor. Choso goes in for the killing blow. Blood transfusion. Because Choso is half human, half curse, this means his blood is toxic to humans. If he injects it into a human, they will die immediately. He sticks his hand into Yuji's pierced liver and transfuses his blood to Yuji. "My brothers, give him hell when you meet him there," Choso says. Any minute now, Yuji would die. But he doesn't. What? Choso is confused. Maybe that was his technique? He tries to transfuse more blood, but this time he feels Sukuna instead. Memories of a time he was never in flood his mind, showing his brothers all sitting around having dinner with Yuji amongst them. The final memory he gets is of Kenjaku looking menacing. What does this all mean? He doesn't know, and if he wants answers, he can't kill Yuji just yet. He carries Yuji on his back and returns to Kenjaku with questions. Nanami's group intercepts him. Nanami, Maki, and Naobito take him down in a 3v1, leaving him seriously injured and freeing Yuji from his grasps, forcing him to retreat. He calls out for backup and Dagon comes to the rescue. Dagon, in his sea slug form, sneaks up on Nanami's group from behind and swallows Yuji up, then opens up his domain expansion to trap everyone else in two. Yuji, having been swallowed, falls directly into the ocean and sinks to the bottom, whilst everyone else stands far away on the shore. And then, it hits them. A strong, unmistakable sting to their chest. Sukuna's fingers. So, Sukuna's fingers. Who the hell was keeping it the entire time during the original arc? Jogo showed up with a whole briefcase custom made to keep the 10 fingers, but where was he keeping this briefcase while he was fighting Gojo and running about? Up his ass? And why didn't anyone think to search out for the fingers first as a priority? So, let's use Dagon to help flesh this out. His domain expansion is an ocean. Doesn't that make the perfect hiding spot for the fingers and other important stuff too? And like we said earlier, Dagon's role is to play security. This gives him a lot more depth so he doesn't feel like some random minion that came out of nowhere just to be defeated. Nanami's group is struggling with Dagon. They try time and time again to swim down to Yuji, but no one can make it without drowning. At this point, only a fish could swim that deep. A Shikigami. They need Megumi's help ASAP. Megumi breaks into the domain using his own and gets to work. He summons Max Elephant, which drains out the water around Megumi as he dives down, giving him an air pocket to breathe in, and takes him underwater to find Yuji. Nanami's group continues to fend Dagon off above land. At the bottom of the ocean, Megumi sees an octopus Shikigami glowing brilliantly under the sea floor, and forms a small dome of open air around its tentacles for someone inside. For Yuji. He sees Yuji tied up in a chair and someone about to feed him a finger. A grandma? Max Elephant deals with the octopus while he deals with her. Granny gets her grandson to deal with him while she chants a spell. Ogami, the old grandma with the seance technique, also came out of nowhere. And frankly, I truly couldn't find a way to foreshadow them at all. So they're still going to appear as a complete surprise, which isn't entirely bad I guess. It's still good to have some surprise villains. But if they're here, then I'm going to use them to squeeze out some good story moments from the arc. Megumi knows to stop a chanting technique when he sees one, so he tries to stop her, but her grandson fights hard and fast, keeping her safe. Then, Ogami stares him dead in the eyes and says his name, Megumi Fushiguro, with extra emphasis on his last name. He's expecting some kind of poison or mind control and checks his body for any physical damages, but he's wrong. It's not his body that's changing, but the grandson's. He watches as the grandson morphs and shapeshifts much like Mahito, slowly transforming themselves into a completely new person. A female with long hair, a slim figure, and kind eyes that Megumi would know anywhere. It's his mother. That's messed up, Megumi thinks, and tries his best to ignore it, but he can't. The well of emotions numbed up inside him, the pain of losing his mother all those years ago, it's all coming back. The dam is starting to crack. He sends Divine Dog after her, but Divine Dog refuses. Instead, he greets his mother with a wagging tail, jumping up and down like any dog would. Ogami finishes her spell and explains to Megumi how her technique works. When she meets someone, she can immediately know which of their loved ones have died and can access their soul from the afterlife. As she chants, she pulls that soul out from the afterlife and back into the world, then channels it through her grandson. Unless you want to get overly philosophical about it, for all intents and purposes, the dead person is effectively revived for the time being.
"This is not a trick," she says. "This is your mother."
In her brief appearance, we never actually saw Granny use her powers properly. She's literally here just to accidentally summon Toji and then she dies. Like, what? How anticlimactic! If you have a medium, then obviously the next step is to have her summon a dead loved one for some emotional damage, no? Also, JJK falls victim to the classic anime trope of explaining everyone's power with long, drawn-out exposition dumps. They literally invented a narrator character just for this purpose. But, for the first time, the trope actually makes sense. This would deal more emotional damage if Ogami could convince Megumi that she truly revived his mother, rather than letting him think it's just an illusion. That's why she explains her technique to him. Finally seeing his mother after so long, after so many years, the dam finally breaks. Megumi cries. Divine Dog holds off Ogami to give him the proper reunion he's been waiting for his whole life. He hugs her tight, apologizing for being such a useless son, for never doing anything in his life, just wandering from battle to battle, waiting to die like some mindless animal, like a monkey. Then he shoves her away and blames her for leaving them. How could she? Leaving him and Sumiki all alone to fend for themselves? And now look where they ended up. One's waiting for death awake, while the other's waiting for death asleep. Oh, if only, he thinks. If only he could die right now and cross over to join her. If only he didn't have such a strong conscience to help. He didn't owe these people anything anyway, and being a sorcerer is a thankless job. Nothing's keeping him here except his stupid morals of wanting to be a good person. "I'm coming, Mom," he swears. "I will come home soon, I promise." His mom chuckles. "Silly boy, why would you do that? There's nothing here. It's just boring old me in a boring old house. Plus, who's gonna take care of him?" She points to Divine Dog. "Better than living my boring old life. I don't care about any of this. I only care about you." "Really?" His mother raises an eyebrow. "Then how come your cursed energy is flowing all over the place right now?" Megumi is embarrassed. He could lie to the world, to Gojo, to himself, but he could never lie to his mother. He finally admits it. "Okay, fine. Maybe I care a little." As he says that, he thinks of Yuji and Nobara. Then it hits him. Wait, what? How could she see his cursed energy? She's not a sorcerer. His mom gives him a cheeky smile. "I lied. I made it up. I just had a feeling you were hiding something. Your dad told me about this cursed energy stuff once while drunk. I still don't really understand it, though." Clever. He truly could never lie to his mother. "But I'd still rather be with you. I don't want you to be alone," he says. "Oh, I'll be fine," she scoffs. "You can't stay a kid forever, Megumi. You have to leave the nest sometime." She pats his little head. "Plus, you still gotta take care of Sumiki. You better." "I will," he swears. Then he sighs in relief as the closure he needs thaws out all the numbed emotions inside him. "Okay, Mom. I'll stay out a little late, but I promise I'll make it back home in time for dinner." "No rush. I'll keep your share in the fridge. You can reheat it when the microwave when you get back." "I'll be back in time." He lets go of his mom as Ogami's spell slowly comes to an end. With Megumi's backstory, his mother basically meant nothing. It's just a classic dead parent trope, right? Every anime character has one. So let's do something with it. Megumi's arc is about him actually coming to care and value himself rather than just laying around with his death wish all the time. What better way to push him along that journey than to make him confront someone he has no choice but to care about, his mame. But Megumi is not the only one. His whale Shikigami headbutts the octopus and knocks it out. The air pocket closes and everyone's drowning. Megumi grabs Yuji and rides the whale back to the land. Ogami and her grandson barely manage to cling on. As they resurface, he sees that the fight is dire. Naobito lost his arm, Nanami took a few hits, and Maki lost her staff. He pulls out Playful Cloud for her and rejoins their side. The whale carries Yuji and swims off to the edges of the domain to keep him safe. But even with his help, they still don't take Dagon down. Worst of all, he now has support from Ogami. What do? Dagon's already caught on to his domain expansion, so chances are he can't pull anyone else in to help. The only way to get a new person now is through Ogami. They have her revive someone else strong enough to defeat Dagon. Megumi thinks. He recalls when she explained her technique. There was one detail he missed back then. Her technique comes from a binding vow. In exchange for powers to bring back the dead, she made a vow to never let her grandson die on her watch. Her grandson made the exact same vow for powers to channel the dead, and together they're the perfect combo. So, what if Megumi forced her to protect herself and ditch her grandson? What if he forced her to break her binding vow? This is one of the big changes I'm making. I'm deciding how binding vows work. In the show, binding vows are really poorly explained and poorly written as a whole. The whole point of magically binding vows or contracts like this in fantasy stories is for it to be sacred, and for there to be dire consequences if it is ever broken. Think about the law of equivalent exchange in Fullmetal Alchemist, and the cost it took on anyone who broke it, or who committed the sin of trying to revive humans. But what is the consequence of breaking a binding vow? You just miss out on the power you got from it?
That's it?
Like you're just canceling a Netflix subscription? How anticlimactic. Also, one other thing, when can you make a binding vow and how many of them can you make? It's a mess, isn't it? And I'm not the only one who's disappointed in this, by the way, clowning on how BS binding vows is a running joke in the fandom. And from their word, it seems like this problem just gets a lot worse in the Shinjuku Showdown arc. Oh boy. So I'm making my own rules. It's a simple one. If you break a binding vow, you lose control of your curse technique and die. You're dead. That's it. He learned from Gojo that a binding vow is a long and patient process where someone truly devotes themselves to some higher divine promise in exchange for greater power. If a binding vow is ever broken, it will turn on the sorcerer and kill them. It'll hijack their cursed energy and use it against them. So tread carefully before thinking about exploiting this for free power. Fraud Kuna. Why would a median kill themselves with their power? Well, they could end up reviving someone who does the job. Someone strong. Megumi tells everyone to ignore Dagon and target them first. He orders them to try their best to always strike them at the exact same time. Naobito freezes them both using his animation technique. Both Maki and Nanami land a killing blow on them both. At the very moment where both Ogami and her grandson feel their weapons cut into their bodies, pure animalistic instinct completely takes over, and they both choose to block for themselves rather than for each other. This leads to them both breaking their vows. Ogami realizes immediately, and all color drains from her face. I mean, not that there was much color in there to begin with, goddamn. She goes mad, screaming and begging for them to kill her.
Kill me, she begs. Kill me before he does.
But it's too late. Her body moves against her will and forces her to chant the spell while her grandson is compelled to come fight her. Once her spell is finished, she is killed immediately at superhuman speeds, the likes no one has ever seen before. The grandson morphs, and without Ogami, he can never morph back again. He's forever trapped inside Toji Zenin. Ogami reviving Toji by accident was also, much like herself, a complete surprise. And considering that Toji ends up killing Dagon for our heroes, you could call this a Toji ex machina. Awfully convenient. I think it's much better if reviving Toji was intended. A calculated plan from our heroes, knowing that they have no other choice to defeat Dagon. But of course, they don't know that it'll be Toji Zenin specifically that gets revived. so it's still a surprise nonetheless. And that's the part Ogami gets to play in the story. Hopefully with this part to play, Ogami feels a lot more baked in with the rest of the arc. In his final moments, Toji dropped the act. He dropped his cold and aloof facade and finally came to admit to himself that he cared. He cared about Megumi, he cared about being accepted by the Zenin, or by anyone, so that he could have a place in this world where he belonged. And most importantly, he cared about being recognized for his talents. He wanted to prove to himself and the world that he was so much more than a useless monkey, and that got him killed. Ogami captured this final moment and channeled it through her grandson when they broke their binding vows, forever dooming them both to death. Now, possessing a different body like a ghost, this moment is the only one that Toji can live in. A ghost forever trapped within the unfinished business of proving himself. And that ghost can only prove himself by doing the only thing he's good at: killing. He kills Dagon and breaks his domain, freeing everyone from it. Then he singles Megumi out from the group and goes after him. Megumi is shocked by how insanely strong and fast he is. He wonders why he's being specifically targeted. Megumi sends all his Shikigamis after him, but it's no use. Toji kills them all without breaking a sweat. One after another, all the Shikigamis we know and recognize die, and Megumi can no longer resummon them again. Nue, the owl, the frogs, Max Elephant, most of the fleeing hares, all until Megumi only has one left to summon: his divine dog. But he refuses to summon it. He refuses to sacrifice his doggy. He'd rather die. Toji stabs him with a sharp and playful cloud and brings Megumi to his knees. Megumi bleeds out on the floor, the world swaying under his feet, and in his final moments he finds himself thinking about Yuji and Nobara again. Every time they went out to eat, to go shopping, or to watch movies, he always turned them down. Now he regrets it. Oh, how he regrets it. Oh, what he would do just to go shopping with them one more time. And for the first time ever they teamed up, he asks for help. With what breath he has left, he calls out to them, but they don't answer. Yuji is off unconscious, and Nobara is too far away. The one time he wants their help, they don't come. He chuckles at the cruel irony of it all and accepts his fate as Toji comes in for the killing blow. At the very least, he gets to go home. "See you soon, Mom," he says weakly. Then Toji stops, stunned by what he said. Confused, then he asks, "Are you part of the Zenin clan?" "No," Megumi answered. Toji smiles and he eases up, as if the battle's over. "See?" he says to no one. "He'll be fine. You worry too much." Then he stabs himself and dies once again. Toji in the Shibuya arc was only cool because he came as a surprise. If you saw it coming, then really, narratively, there's not much else to it. It's nice that he recognized Megumi at the end and see that he manages to protect his son after all, but that moment was so brief I think we needed a little more. Toji, like with Megumi, went on the same arc, starting off as someone who was numb and didn't really care about anything, and ending up as someone who finally realizes just how much they secretly cared all along. Megumi realizes he secretly cared about his own life and his friends, while Toji realizes he secretly cared about being accepted by the Zenin clan in the Jujutsu world all along. So, with the two characters going on such parallel arcs, doesn't it make sense to also progress that arc in the same way? Bring back the dead mom again and have her, not even needing to do anything, push Toji down the same path of growth. The last thing Megumi does before he blacks out is summon his divine dog, who carries him to safety. Then he opens a small domain expansion just big enough for himself and falls into his own abyss to hide. There, in the darkness, Divine Dog starts to feel the power of all his fellow Shikigamis who had died slowly course through him, and he starts to evolve into his final form, Maharaga. Maharaga is yet again something else that came out of nowhere, and he's supposed to be someone capable of taking on Sukuna, so I looked into the magic system of Shikigamis and how they worked and found something to flesh it out. When a Shikigami dies, it never comes back, but its powers get transferred to the rest. So, what if Maharaga is simply when you combine every Shikigami together? I mean, his power is the ability to adapt to anything, right? What else is better than adaptation than animals in the wilderness? It's perfect! Nita is one of the assistants at the Jujutsu school that helps out with menial admin tasks. She's the blonde girl that helped out during the Cursed Womb painting arc at the end of Season 1. And Nobara is stuck with her, running around Shibuya to look for any stray survivors and to kill all the low-level cursed spirits. Nobara is good friends with her. They have good chemistry, they can joke and banter and gossip really well, but they're not allies. In terms of Jujutsu sorcery, Nobara thinks very little of Nita. Nita is 2 whole grades lower than her, and from what Nobara had seen, she just isn't the fighting type. So, as they run through Shibuya, Nobara is always soloing everything while Nita just takes cover nearby. Then, once the coast is clear, Nita returns and helps with Nobara's injuries. Nita's cursed technique uses reversed cursed energy, and with it she's able to pause an injury as long as she directs a constant flow of power towards it. It's basically a magic tourniquet. Nita suddenly gets a ping in her comms. It's Nanami, and he needs her help. He needs her to bring Yuji back up. They immediately make their way over only to be stopped by Mahito. Nita is scared, and from reports she read about the incident with Junpei and what she heard from Nanami, Mahito sounds impossibly strong for them to tackle. But Nobara isn't scared. Cocky as ever, she tells Nita to stand back and takes him on herself, except she can't. Even with all the new tricks she learned from Maki, it still isn't enough to beat Mahito. Worse yet, Mahito can counter her technique very easily. Every time she sticks a nail in him, he can just pull it back out by inflating his skin or simply peel his skin off to get rid of it. Nobara is caught off guard, but she still stands her ground. It's kinda ridiculous that Nobara went from losing to Haruta to winning against Mahito clone, isn't it? What even is the power balancing here? So I'm nerfing Nobara a little bit to make her more consistent with the power level she's supposed to be at based on what we've seen of her so far. Nita calls out to her, begging her to retreat and call for backup, or at the very least let her help out too. Nobara refuses, saying she's got it. All she needs to do is lock in. But she's still losing. She keeps going, refusing to back down until she takes the most humiliating hit of her whole career. Mahito slaps her in the face. Nita screams, dragging her back to heal her before she dies. Now, Nita's getting serious. She scolds Nobara for being so reckless. "If you die, I'm next! And if I die, you're next!" She points to Nobara's disfigured face. "Like it or not, we're stuck together now. So please, let me help. I know I'm just a weak assistant, but we're all that we got." Nobara is reminded of Gojo and his constant nagging to stick with the team and not go off on her own. She's still struggling with that, only managing to work well with Yuji once they fought against the other Cursed Womb paintings. That was cool, but it was just a fluke. She regressed right back into her all-solo attitude immediately after. Gojo has asked her countless times why she's so stubborn to work with others, and Nobara has never given him a straight answer, because frankly, even she doesn't know that herself. All she knows is, if anyone's going to be so reckless to hand their life to someone else like that in a heated combat, they better hand it to someone special. Anyone other than a lower grade Jujutsu sorcerer? Sure. She likes Nita as a friend, but as a teammate in battle? Hell no. But things are dire with Mahito, so she bites the bullet. "And what can you do?" Nobara scoffs. Nita explains that on top of reversed cursed energy, she also has a little bit of telekinesis, like a very weak version of Gojo's red and blue technique. She lifts one of Nobara's nails off the ground and throws it at Mahito to demonstrate, swarming it around him as he tries to block it like a homing missile. Fine. Nobara is pissed. "You want to work with me? Then remember this. Do exactly as I say, otherwise leave me alone. And don't you dare steal the credit. I'm dealing the final blow." "You got it." Nita gets up. Nobara gets back into battle, asking Nita to keep all the nails she shoots hovering in the air, circling round and round Mahito like a swarm of bees, and jabbing him through any opening she can find. It's making a difference, allowing him to slowly even back the odds, but if they want to win, they need something more. Nita notices something. Nobara got slapped with idle transfiguration, but her face looks perfectly fine. Sure, she's using her technique to pause it right now, but even if so, the split second it took for her to activate it should have been enough time for some effect to take place. Like, maybe disfiguring it a little, but no, nothing. She gets a hunch, a crazy, wild guess. But if she's right, then they could win. She takes a deep breath and dismisses her technique on Nobara's face. Nobara is fine. Mahito slapped her and somehow didn't use idle transfiguration. Or more accurately, he couldn't. Her hunch was right. Seems it does pay off to be crazy sometimes. She pitches her idea to Nobara, but Nobara isn't listening. Hell no, I'm not handing my weapon to you. It's the only way to defeat him, Nita insists. Yeah, and how do you know that? Because I've been researching this guy for months. Ever since what happened to Junpei, I've been collecting intel on this guy. Listen, when Mechromaru sent his message to us, he also sent us footage of him fighting Mahito, and I noticed something. Mahito has a weakness, and it's perfect for your technique, so just trust me. Why should I? You're 2 grades lower than me and an assistant. You sorcerers always think you're the big shots, don't you? Let me tell you something. You guys won't get anywhere without us. How would you know where to go and what to fight without our research? All that paperwork. I'd like to see you guys write the reports on your own fight for once. Nobara is stunned. Nita continues. It's clear she's been bottling this up for a while now. You sorcerers are only good at beating up curses and looking pretty. But we assistants, we do everything else. We do twice the work for half the pay and for none of the credit. That's why you should listen to me. Fine, Nobara relents. Let's hear this idea of yours. She's still unconvinced. Nita whispers her plan to her, and Nobara's eyes shoot wide open. Damn, that is crazy. Her cocky smile returns to her. After you, Nita says. Nah, Nobara pats on her shoulder. After you. Nita continues circling the nails around Mahito, but this time, Nobara guides her. Nobara tells her where to aim, how much force to use, and how to better position herself in battle for a tactical advantage. Exactly like how Maki taught her. Nita starts to get the hang of it, and she's even able to psych out Mahito and stick the nails in a lot better than before. Then, Nobara makes her final charge. Rather than throwing a nail at Mahito, Nobara rushes him and sticks the nail in by hand, right in the chest. Before Mahito can retaliate, Nita pulls her back and gives her a nod. It's time. Nobara throws her hammer up into the sky, and Nita pulls it down using her telekinesis. It comes rocketing back down like an asteroid, and right before impact they both grab the hammer together and strike the nail right in his chest, delivering the most powerful resonance Nobara has ever done in her life. The impact travels all the way to the real Mahito standing guard by Kenjaku's side, and his chest bursts wide open, revealing his soul inside. Mahito immediately dismisses the clone, but does his best to patch the hole. The skin patched over is weak and flimsy. Why? Kenjaku explains that because the impact was delivered via resonance, it didn't hit him from the outside in like all the other hits would. Rather, it hit him from the inside out. And what's inside of him? His soul. Nobara takes a moment to process it all, and it hits her. If she's going to work with someone and hand her life to someone's hands, she'd happily hand it out to Nita. She'd happily hand it to someone crazy as her. With the clone gone, Nobara and Nita are safe to regroup with the rest. When they do, they see everyone covered in wounds and bruises. Megumi is nowhere to be found, and Maki has burn scars all over her body. Nita tries to heal everyone, but she can't. She explains that her technique requires immense focus and she simply cannot multitask and divide it across so many people. And since her technique only pauses an injury, healing them one by one is basically pointless. Then, Nobara gets an idea. She sticks a nail on everyone's injuries, including her own, plucks a hair from everyone, and ties those strands around another nail. Then she asks Nita to heal the nail. Resonance will transfer that healing onto everyone else, hence allowing her to heal everyone without needing to split up her attention. It's something she and Maki discovered while training once. Her resonance technique isn't transferring raw damage to the target, it's transferring the cursed energy that it's carrying, meaning they can transfer techniques through resonance if it can somehow be channeled into this tiny nail. She already did this during the Cursed Womb painting arc, by the way, where she used resonance to transfer the rot technique back onto the opponent himself. Why not use it again and create an AoE healing? What can I say, resonance is OP. Nanami catches them up on what happened. After they defeated Dagon and escaped his domain expansion, Jogo intercepted them and grabbed the fingers, and they barely managed to make it out with Yuji. Maki practically burned herself alive for that. Nobara can't help but be pissed at Yuji about it. Thanks to his carelessness, he got her mentor, her idol, cooked medium rare, and he'll pay for that when he wakes up. But should he? We never really got a proper answer on the dilemma behind whether they should kill Yuji or not, which is crazy since that's literally what started the whole series. So I'm answering it here once and for all, assuming that, as of right now, it's impossible to get Sukuna out of Yuji's body. Should Yuji die? Think of it like this. What do you do when you find a bomb? You defuse it, right? But what if that bomb is now an innocent teenage boy who didn't ask for any of this and he's begging you to let him live? Now what do you do? More importantly, how should the bomb itself feel about this? In my opinion, the answer is yes, and as things grow worse and worse in Shibuya, especially when people start dying, more and more of the main cast will start to come around on this too. Nobara and Todo obviously want Yuji to wake back up. He's their friend and reluctant teammate. And he's also pretty strong. He could help. Someone still needs to go look for Megumi anyway, but everyone else is conflicted. No one dares to say it, but they're all thinking it. Only the cold and calculated Nanami dares to speak up. If Yuji helps them fight, he'll be in close contact with Jogo, and that might potentially backfire. They already know that Sukuna can exert some control over Yuji at times, like secretly growing a mouth in his hand and eat a finger, so who knows what else Sukuna would do when he comes close to the fingers. It might be better for Yuji to be unconscious so he's easier to handle. Someone can simply stash him away, or better yet, just bring him back to the Jujutsu school and hide him there. No one can think of a better alternative. And they accept. They made their choice, they won't bring Yuji back up, and will instead keep him unconscious to prevent Sukuna from interfering. Then, one of them will bring him back to the Jujutsu school where he will be safe from the villains. Once that happens, they'll have one less thing on their plate to worry about. Jogo and the villains are one step ahead. They know the sorcerers will try to escape with Yuji after Gojo is sealed, and they have a contingency plan for this. Right as they say that, Jogo creates a moat of lava around Shibuya using his maximum technique, trapping everyone inside. Choso emerges amongst the smoke and fire and joins his side. In the story, Jogo had a super brief fight with Nanami's group after Dagon where he basically smokes them without even trying. I think it would have been cooler if we expanded that into an actual proper full-length battle instead. It gives him a chance to avenge his fallen allies and also gives the other sorcerers something to do, to explain where they've been the whole time, rather than magically appearing at the end to fight Kenjaku out of nowhere. After being separated from Yuji, Choso has been hiding out in the bathroom, healing his injuries and trying to process it all. What does it mean? Why would Yuji be in those memories? Why was Kenjaku there, and how does Sukuna know about it? He sees the sorcerers fighting Dagon, then later Jogo. There's so many of them, and he's in no condition to take them on right now. So instead, he returns to Kenjaku empty-handed. Can you believe that after he fought Yuji, Choso literally spent all that time just cowering in the subway station? Like, that's all he's been doing this whole time. And he only came back to fight Kenjaku. Because? It's not made clear if Choso knew Kenjaku was the one who made the cursed womb paintings, and how he came to know that in the first place? The memories he got from Sukuna definitely wasn't enough intel for him to deduce that all by himself. And he definitely didn't know about all this before that point, because if he did, then why would he fight Yuji or even work with Kenjaku? The whole scene is confusing as a result of this. So, I'm adding one more scene just to clear things up. Also, unlike Todo, we didn't really get a moment for Yuji to come to accept Choso as his brother. The next time we see them, they're already buddies taking on Yuta and Naoya together. It's like Professor Hulk from Endgame. It happened off screen. And that's all a little disappointing, not gonna lie, so let's put their brotherhood on screen. Kenjaku helps heal Choso back up fully and replenish his energy, but he doesn't answer Choso's questions. Choso keeps pushing. He's even desperate enough to ask Jogo, but Jogo barely knows anything about it. He only knows that whoever it was who did this, they were probably from the Hyaenen era. That's it. From the Hyaenen era. That means they must be long dead by now. But if that's so, then how could Yuji possibly be one of the paintings? He's a teenager. This means whoever it is, it has to be someone who's somehow immortal. Who could have lived from the Hyaenen era until now in order to also conceive Yuji? Someone immortal. Someone like a little brain slug that can always find new bodies for a host. Choso puts all the pieces together, and in a horrifying realization, he fights Kenjaku. But Kenjaku overpowers him easily, and he realizes that this isn't a fight that he can win, at least not right now. So instead, he just leaves. He's gonna go grab Yuji and leave to find his other brothers. Kenjaku is outraged. What about the plan? They still need to summon Sukuna. Choso doesn't care, saying he only ever joined their side to retrieve his brothers. Kenjaku is busy sapping Gojo's cursed energy to stop him with full force, but he tries the best he can. Choso, knowing Kenjaku needs Gojo alive, uses Gojo as a human shield to hide behind, and with it manages to escape. Absolutely pissed, Kenjaku asks Mahito to chase him down. Kenjaku is finally done sapping all the cursed energy he needs and seals the prison realm at last. Gojo lets the cube take him without a word. Kenjaku grabs the sealed realm and retreats. He goes above ground, and it's absolute chaos. Jujutsu students are fighting Jogo and Choso, but Jogo and Choso are also fighting one another, because Choso doesn't want Sukuna to take over Yuji anymore, and yet he doesn't want the sorcerers to take him either? It's a mess. Kenjaku lays low and watches carefully, waiting for the perfect time to strike. Jogo heard from Hanami about Inumaki's cursed speech and targets him first. He flicks the spark of fire right into Inumaki's mouth and burns his throat. Choso, now that he knows Yuji is also a cursed wound painting like him, manipulates the blood he transfused earlier to help Yuji regain consciousness.
Yuji,
Choso says as Yuji comes to.
we are brothers. I am sorry for not realizing that sooner. I should have known. Stick close to me. We will both escape Shibuya together, hide out underground, and plan a way to free the rest of our brothers from the vaults of the Jujutsu school. Understand?
Yuji isn't having it, and he punches Choso, but his arm pulls back. Something inside is forcing him to pull back. It's the blood Choso put in his bloodstream. After learning Yuji is his brother, the first thing Choso would do is help Yuji and just bail with him. Choso only joined Shibuya because his odds of survival were better than the curse's side and to avenge his dead brothers. After he realized he found another brother, he basically has no reason to be involved anymore. Choso scolds Yuji.
Have you no respect for your older brother? Do not make this harder than it needs to be. I am doing this for your own good.
Nanami shouts at him. Yuji, get out of here and get back to the school. We can handle this. Yuji understands and he tries to escape, but everywhere he looks there is only fire and lava. Jogo is just round the corner, coming at him with a fireball. He looks back at the pit of lava before him. This would solve everything, wouldn't it? If he jumps in, they won't be able to summon Sukuna through him anymore. His body will be melted away by the lava, leaving nothing for Sukuna to even possess. Plus, he'd obviously learned his lesson from last time and wouldn't hastily accept Sukuna's binding vows anymore. He takes a step closer, watching the lava bubble and sizzle before his feet. And he thinks back to his grandpa's final words. Keep living, keep going on, and keep saving people. Give everyone a meaningful life and a meaningful death. Jumping in lava would be entirely meaningless. Jogo is an inch away now, and rather than reach for him, he first opens his domain expansion to trap Yuji inside. No one else can get to them. And at last, Yuji is cornered. Jogo shoves the fingers down his throat. The domain lifts and out comes Sukuna. They were too late. And that's the end of part 1.
I'm so fucking tired.
Yes, the rewrite is so long that I needed to split it into 2 parts. It shouldn't be long until part 2 comes out, especially since I'm editing them back to back, so stay tuned, like and subscribe, and as always, I hope you enjoyed.